Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Farewell to a Friend, written by redditaggie. I open my eyes, but I'm not sure where I am. Grey skies over a bleak and barren landscape, as the sun, mostly in vain, tries to push through the dark clouds that appear heavy with rain. For some reason, though, I know the rain will not fall almost instinctually. As I lift my head to smell the air, I swear it's never rained in this place. A feeling of helplessness hangs in the air as each breath brings an atmosphere of stagnant neglect. I stagger to my feet. I feel lighter and whole. That gnaws at my back of my mind for some reason, but I cannot catch the thought. I wonder where my brother and sister are. I begin to look for them. They always liked to hide from me. It was a game we played when we were young. I would pretend I couldn't find them, even though I could always hear them giggling in the closet or smell where they ran down the hall. But here, there is nothing. There are no familiar sights, no familiar sounds or smells. It's simply other. I begin to notice shapes moving at the limits of the light and think it could be my family. I set off towards the nearest figures, quickly recognizing the gangly silhouettes of the humans. I raced towards them, shouting a greeting and hurrying as fast as my legs will carry me. However, when I finally arrive, I find they are not my family. They are strangers and seem less than I remembered them. Sunken faces with sunken eyes, fixed on their path ahead, wander aimlessly across a plain of unknowable breadth. I am frustrated. For hours I've run among them, shouting and nuzzling various individuals, unable to garner their attention. Despite my best efforts, nothing I do can rouse their interests. Talking to humans was always hard. My family never understood me any more than these people. However, despite their limited intelligence and inability to communicate, they did their best to care for me and make me happy. Suddenly, I remember they would sometimes disappear like this for a few days. Inevitably, they would return, smelling of some exotic place with interesting treats to share. Then my sister would plant herself beside me, stroke my neck, scratch my ears, and babble for hours. I, of course, never understood a word, but assumed that she was trying to tell me about the adventure they had. I missed them, but always enjoyed those reunions. I noticed a small knoll near a well-worn path ahead, and decided to lie atop it. Back home, I used to lie on the stairs above my family, watching them as they listened to the loud plashing of barks. I could see everyone at once. Perhaps from up here I would be able to see them. I climbed the small hill and lie down, watching the endless sea of people wander across the plain below me. After what feels like hours, I notice a figure walking directly towards my hill. This is odd, as his single-mindedness is something I have yet to see since I awoke. He seems to be the same size and shape as my father, and moves like him with a purposeful step towards his destination. He sees me, and he raises a hand, greeting. As he gets closer, I begin to see the man more clearly. He looks stern, yet gentle, young but wise. He moves with little effort as he bounds up the rocks and stands beside me. I feel like I should be frightened, but I am not. His presence is familiar. He kneels beside me and allows me to sniff his hand. It is hard to describe the scent. If kindness had an odor, I think it would smell like this man. I sit up and get a better look at him. His eyes are compassionate, and he has an easy smile. "How are you doing, Gabe?" he asks. "It took me a bit longer to find you than I expected. You moved around quite a bit. I should have known you'd find the high ground." It takes me a moment to realize I've understood exactly what he said. I back away, yelping, "What?" "Easy, Gabe," the man says softly, dropping back into a seated position with his arms draped over his knees. "It's okay, buddy," he continues. "No one here will hurt you. I'm a friend." "How can you understand me?" I ask. "No one has ever understood me before." "Well, that's an interesting question," the man responds. "You see, humans long ago forgot the divine language. They have to relearn it. Well, you are, for lack of a better term, born fluent. At their best, they only understand its most basic form without considerable effort." I don't follow," I say. "The humans always seem to understand each other well enough." "They talk a lot, sure," the man chuckled. "But that isn't the divine language. The divine language is simply a part of each of us. It's the capacity that we have to love. The extent to which it is expressed varies in each group. For example, naturally your species expresses it with fluency. In humans, they fumble about trying to string together even the easiest sentences. And it takes them a lifetime to become conversational. And cats, well, I'm sure you've known any cats. You know they don't speak the language at all. The man laughed with a wink. I chuckled and said, "This is true." I move over and sit beside the man, watching the people pass below me. "So where am I?" I asked. "How do you know me and my name? I don't believe I've smelled you before. No matter how familiar you seem, who are you?" "That is a lot of questions," the man replies. "Where are you is the only slightly less complicated than when you are. Let's start with the easy ones. I have many names, but you can call me John. In this place, I help those who are lost find their way. I've been doing it for, well, longer than I can probably relate." John rests with his arm on my back, scratching me behind my left ear as we watch the people circulate below. My sister does that. "As to how I know you," John begins after a time, "well, it is my job to know. It's actually not unusual for your kind to lose your way when you arrive. The same depth of the divine language within you that allows us to speak so easily is what ties you back there. That bond holds you here, in the lands between." John stands and motions for me to follow. "Come on, Gabe. I've got a better place for you to wait." I scan the endless sea of faces below us and stand to follow John. We begin walking across the valley. "Gabe, earlier you asked me where you were and I avoided the question. But I think you can understand," John continues. "You're in the place between worlds. Do you remember any of what happened the last few days?" "No," I reply. "It's all a bit fuzzy." John stops and places a hand over my eyes, and the fog of my mind clears in a moment. I remember feeling heavy. I remember my legs not working and the pain. I remember my family surrounding me. There were tears in their eyes, and I sense an almost unfathomable sadness in their presence. Somehow, I understand they're telling me goodbye. I remember getting very tired, closing my eyes. John removes his hand and continues walking. I follow. After a long moment of silence, I ask, "So, am I dead?"
"Yes," John replies. "I'm sorry to say that you are, but it's not like you probably think. You've simply passed between the veil of realities. You closed your eyes in your world and awoke here."
I thought a moment. "You said where was the easier question than when, John. What did you mean by that?" I asked. John sidesteps around one of the aimless husks and responds,
"Here, time has no meaning. Time passes, but nothing is impacted by the passage of time. In your reality, as time marched ever onward, bodies aged. Decay set in, and death was common. Here, none of those things exist. You don't even need to eat or drink. Days will pass to years, ages, and eons, but nothing will change. That may sound awful, but I guarantee that the life you find here, you will not want to change." I stopped to sniff the hand of the one human shells, wandering a plan around us, and shivered. "I don't know, John," I disagreed. "None of these people seem like they are living some fabulous dream." "It's different for these around us, Gabe,"
John says as he ruffles my neck.
"These are lost. They did not learn to speak our language, though it is not love that holds them here. Usually, it is regret, fear, more anger. They are trapped here, wandering forever, searching for a key that will release them. Rarely is it found. There is only a torment of their design. Their inability to forgive and forget blinded them to the divine language in your reality. And now it binds them in this place, cursing them to wander in the hell they fabricated for themselves. A prison of their minds. Sometimes a loved one will find one of them and rouse them by reigniting the spark of ancient language within them. Sometimes one will free themselves by finally letting go and awakening on their own. When that occurs, I find them and guide them on," John said. "That doesn't happen often enough, though, I'm afraid. Usually, they simply wander, unable to let go of what was left behind."
That's rather bleak, I reply. So how does my being bound here by love make me any better than any of those? I asked. John looks at me and pats my shoulder, as he walks like my father used to do.
Because it is not selfish, Gabe, he says with a smile. You ran for hours through this valley and finally sat on that hill with only one goal: to find your family. The time that search would take was inconsequential. You would have sat there forever. Why were you looking for them?
I think for a moment before replying. Well, when they are sad, particularly my sister, my presence helps them feel better. For some reason, I felt like they were very sad without me. What you showed me a moment ago seems to confirm that. That if they were sad, they need me, so I need to find them.
What if the journey to them is dangerous, Gabe? John asks.
Doesn't matter, I replied.
What if they don't need you now? John asks.
I'll be there when they do next time, I respond.
What if it's not possible to get to them? John asks.
Are you saying I can't go home? I retort.
I am sorry to say, it's no longer possible for you to return, John replies.
I think for a moment. You said they will come here, I asked.
All do, eventually, John says with a smirk.
Then I'll wait, John, I answer.
And that is why your kind often needs help, my friend, John sighs. All those people out there are focused on themselves, their problems, hatred, unfinished business, and, hilariously for many of them, their stuff traps them in this valley. You're kind of never like that. There is never a selfish bone in your bodies. So, if I didn't come to get you, the hills around this valley would be simply teeming with your kind waiting the arrival of the rest of your pack. We're this way, John says, putting a hand on the gate that seems to have appeared to his right.
John pushes, and a bright light greets us, but remains isolated within the gate's frame. We pass through, and John closes the gate behind us. The gate vanishes, slowly fading into nothing. Before, the landscape was bleak and barren. Now it is teeming with life. A beautiful river runs through the lush valley. Sunny beaches and puffy clouds draw my attention. Houses dot the landscape, integrated into the surrounding countryside, and everywhere I look, families play, swim, and work together in the lush basin surrounding us. Homes and happy people continue up the hillside into the mountains. What is this place, John? I asked.
Your home, Gabe, he replies. Your family will eventually find their way here. When they do, they'll find you again. You won't need my help. The bond will draw you to each other.
I look around the valley again. It is beautiful and peaceful. I notice a large outcropping across the valley that would afford a great view of the nearby landscape. I could wait for them there, I whisper to John.
Yes, you could do that, John laughs. Or, Michael, he shouts.
A small boy breaks away from the group of children playing nearby and runs over to us. Hi, John, Michael exclaims. It's great to see you. Who is this?
This is Gabe, John replies. He's a new friend of mine. His family isn't here yet. I was hoping that you and your buddies might keep him company until they arrive.
Sure, John, Michael chirps. Happy to. Michael turns to look at me again, and slowly his eyes widened. Wow, he exclaims. Gabe, you're huge. He hugs my neck and rubs my shoulders. And you're so soft. I love your fur. We'd love to play with you. Come on. Michael runs back to his friends, shouting my name and beckoning me to join them. I look at John.
Are you sure I belong here? I asked. Gabe, this is paradise, John says as his eyes takes on the ageless depth. The only reason it is paradise is because of your kind. It could not possibly be so without your presence. Go on, have fun. Your family will find you when they arrive. Until then, enjoy yourself. You appear to have some very interesting new playmates. Welcome to your rest.
Patting my head, he stands to walk away. A few steps away, though, John stops and turns to look at me again. His eyes take on a softness that warms my heart, and he adds,
Oh, and Gabe, just in case you should ever doubt as you wait, you were a very good boy.
End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Caspar Arnholt, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.